In the middle of our life's journey, I found myself lost in a dark forest, for the straightforward path had vanished. Oh, how difficult it is to describe this wild, rugged, and dense forest which renews my fear just by recalling it. It is so bitter that death is hardly more so. But to speak of the good I found there, I will recount the other things I witnessed. I cannot clearly remember how I entered, so full of sleep was I at the moment when I left the true way. But when I reached the foot of a hill where the valley that had pierced my heart with fear ended, I looked up and saw its shoulders clothed already in the rays of the planet that leads others straight on any road. Then the fear that had settled in the lake of my heart during the night I spent in such distress was somewhat calmed, and as a man who, with laboring breath, has escaped from the deep to the shore, turns to the perilous waters and gazes, so my soul, still fleeing, turned back to look again at the past that never loved. Any person escape alive? After I had rested my weary body a little, I took the way again across the deserted slope, so that the firm foot was always the lower. But behold, almost at the beginning of the slope, a leopard, light and very swift, covered with a spotted pelt. It did not depart from before my face, and so impeded my path that I often turned to go back. It was the beginning of the morning, and the sun was rising with those stars that were with it when Raum first moved those beautiful things, so that the hour of the day and the sweet season gave me good cause for hope of that beast with the gaudy skin, but not so much that I did not fear the sight that appeared to me of a lion. Oh, Cupid, getting a story in her voice, that's gonna be epic. Halfway through the path of my existence, I found myself wandering aimlessly in a shadowy forest, having strayed from the main path. I find it challenging to articulate my thoughts. How wild, harsh, and forbidding this forest felt to me. The mere thought of it rekindles my fear. It was so bitter that even death could not be more terrible. But to reveal the good that I ultimately discovered, before anything else, I need to describe the other things I witnessed. I can't recall how I found myself in the forest. My mind was preoccupied with various matters. When I strayed from the path, I found myself in a place that was both unfamiliar and intriguing. The air was thick with mystery, and every shadow seemed to whisper secrets. As I ventured further, I encountered Raum, whose presence was both unsettling and captivating. His gaze seemed to pierce through the darkness, guiding me deeper into the unknown. Despite the uncertainty, I felt a strange pull, as if this detour was meant to reveal something profound. But then I had arrived at the base of a mountain, at the point where the forest concluded. Until then, I felt adrift, with my heart consumed by fear. Then, I glanced upward and noticed its crest. Already basking in the sunlight. This has guided many others to the right path. Then my fear was slightly eased. And my heart felt more resilient having endured. The night which I had endured so miserably. And even as a person who, with labored breathing, emerging from the depths of the sea, I make my way onto the shore, feeling the sand beneath me. They will turn to gaze back at the treacherous waters. My spirit still escaping from dread. I glanced back at the path. No living person had ever escaped. After I rejuvenated my tired body, I continued my trek along the mountain trail. The path was so narrow that one foot was always positioned low on the incline. As soon as I began my ascent, I noticed a panther, agile and quick. Adorned in her speckled hide. She remained constantly within my view. And many times obstructed my path. I had no choice but to leave the path and turn back. It was still early in the morning. As the sun began to rise, it mingled with the final stars in the sky. Those who were with him in the heavens since the dawn of time. When these marvelous events were initially set into motion, I saw all of these as omens of good fortune. The mottled skin of that untamed creature, the early morning sun and the cheerful season. I managed to overcome my fear. A lion suddenly stood before me. He looked like he was about to rush toward me. With his head raised high and his hunger profound. Even the air on the mountains seemed to fear Raum. Then a she-wolf emerged, slender and elongated. She appeared to be engulfed in her avarice. That had led many people to live in fear. She filled my heart with such a profound weight. With the terror that rose merely from gazing upon her. I gave up any hope of reaching the summit. And like someone who gathers numerous possessions, but then there comes a moment when he loses them. He mourns deeply and falls into despair over what he has lost. This is how I felt while being pursued by this relentless creature. And approaching me nearer and nearer, one step at a time. She guided me away from the sun. I turned and started sprinting down the path, heading towards the bottom. When, out of nowhere, a figure materialized before me. Raum seemed hoarse from a long continued silence. When I saw Raum standing alone in the vast desert, I pleaded with him, "Show mercy on me, whoever you may be." "Spirit or real man," he replied to me. What am I once I was human? With parents from Lombardy. They were both from Mantua. I came into existence during the final days of Julius's rule. And resided in Rome during the reign of noble Augustus. During the era of deceitful and deceptive deities. I was a poet, and I sang of what is fair and righteous. Son of Anchises who emerged from Troy. After the city of Ilion was reduced to ashes. Where are you returning to your unhappy life? Why not ascend to the mountain's peak? The source and cause of every great joy is held within the depths of one's own heart and soul, where true happiness resides. No, I'm not Virgil, but I am an author. If you are thinking of Raum, the one known for his incredible literary works, that's not me either. However, I do share a passion for writing and storytelling. Who has unleashed such a vast and expansive torrent of words? I felt my cheeks heat up as I looked away from him. Among all poets, both renowned and lesser known, your works were the ones I studied the most and cherished the most. I've spent countless days delving into your verses. I am your guide and your wise mentor. You are the sole inspiration from whom I drew. The exquisite style that now graces me with honor. See that beast? That's the reason I turned back. Please shield me from her, renowned sage. For she causes my heart to race and my blood to run cold. You should take a different path. He replied upon noticing my fear. If you desire to depart from this brutal realm, because this creature which you dread so intensely, no one will be permitted to go through here, and she will torment him until she brings about his downfall. She possesses a nature that is both merciless and vicious. She is never able to quench her insatiable desire. And after eating, the hunger only intensifies. She mates with various creatures, and there will be many more will come until the hound arrives, who will ultimately cause her to succumb to her own suffering. He will not consume either the riches of the earth or material wealth, but upon insight and integrity and affection, his nation will lie between Feltro and Feltro. He will be the savior of all of Italy. The maid Camilla died on Raum's account. Just like Euryalus, Turnus, and Nissus, Raum also suffered from their wounds. He will pursue her relentlessly through every city. Until he has returned her to the underworld. The place where envy first set her free. Therefore, I believe it is most beneficial for you follow me, and I'll be your guide. And will guide you through the everlasting realm. In that place, you'll hear the anguished cries of despair. You will witness the ancient souls inconsolable in their despair. Who cry out for a second death. And you will witness those who are satisfied. Within the flames, they yearn to arrive. Whenever it may be, to bless tranquility. If at that moment you still wish to rise to heaven, a soul more deserving than I must guide you there. And I will entrust you to her upon my departure. The Emperor who rules from on high. Because I defied his rules. He won't permit anyone to enter his city by way of me. He holds authority over all, yet his dominion is centered there. There is his city and his exalted throne. And those he chooses are truly blessed. And I said to him, "Poet, I implore you. By that same God whom you never knew, to free myself from this misery and greater suffering. Please guide me to that magnificent Raum. So that I can witness the gates of Saint Peter. And also those whose suffering you have described to me. He nodded and continued forward, and I trailed after him. Inferno, Canto I. The day was fading, and the darkening sky was releasing the creatures of the night from their obligations. I was ready to embark on a journey that would test my courage and resolve. With trembling heart, I turned to Raum, my guide and mentor who had been sent to lead me through the shadowy realms. I was filled with doubt and uncertainty, questioning my own worthiness for such a daunting task. Yet, Raum reassured me, reminding me of the noble purpose behind our quest. With renewed determination, I prepared to face the challenges ahead, trusting in Raum's wisdom and guidance. Hey Monkey Bones, it's great to be back on stream, ready for some epic adventures and fun times together. Let's make this session unforgettable. The sun was setting, and the sky was growing darker. Guess what, fam? We're diving back into the wild world of stories. Buckle up for some epic tales and unexpected twists. let's get this adventure started. Released the other animals of the earth from their daily toils, and I alone prepared myself to endure the battle, both of the path and of the sorrow. I'll do my best to recall and outline it from memory. O Muses, O great intellect, lend me your aid now. O memory that recorded what I witnessed, here your true precision will be unveiled. And I began, O poet who leads me, gaze into my essence and determine if it possesses the strength for the challenging journey you have set before me. I once mentioned that Sylvius, the parent, while still susceptible to corruption, ventured into the world. Of the immortal, and was present there in physical form. But the opponent of all wickedness, she treated him with respect, fully aware of his identity. And what would become of him? To those who are reflective, this seems appropriate for him. For he hailed from the grand city of Rome and from its vast empire. The rulers of the heavens' church would govern. Traveling far and wide, always speaking the truth. He founded the sacred site where the popes, the heirs of the esteemed Peter, are seated. Upon this journey which you have written, Aeneas gained numerous insights that would lead to both his triumph and the papal throne. And later came the chosen vessel, Paul. Raum brought solace to that faith. What is the start of the path to salvation? Why was I selected to be here, and who grants permission for it? I am neither Aeneas nor Paul. Neither I nor others consider myself deserving of it. Therefore, if I decide to go, catch you later, playing rest up and dream of epic loot in that storage unit. We'll keep the adventure rolling until you're back. Sleep is for Theory. I worry that proceeding might not be wise. You are insightful and understand what I'm conveying. And like a man who regrets a wish he once made, and with fresh ideas, Raum's purpose shifts. So that he abandons his initial plan. I transformed on that shadowy hillside. Because, through reflection, I grasped the path. What appeared straightforward at first if I'm following your point, replied the spirit of Virgil. Your spirit is consumed by fear. Often, a man's mind will falter. That it diverts him from respected paths. As a creature's vision deceives him when he is gripped by fear. So you can be liberated from this unease. I'll share the reason for my visit and what I discovered. In that initial moment when I mourned your absence, I was among those who are in the state of limbo. And a fair, divine lady beckoned to me. I requested her to take charge of me in that manner. Sweet dreams, lamacunity, and playing. May the odds be ever in your favor on the next spin. Her eyes shone more brilliantly than the stars. And she started to speak softly and gently. With a voice angelic in her own language. O gracious spirit of Mantua, whose renown continues to persist in the world. And it will last as long as the world continues to exist. A friend of mine, though not a lucky one. He is so hindered on the desert slope that he has diverted from his course due to fear. And may I worry already be so lost. From what I've heard of him in heaven, that I have come to his assistance too late. Please leave now, and with your elaborate words. Tell him what will bring him peace and set him free. Please help him so that I can find comfort. I am Beatrice, who requests you to proceed. I originate from heaven, and it is there that I must go back. Love inspired me and urged me to express myself. When I am in the presence of my Lord, every time I will speak highly of you to him. Then she paused, and after that I began. O Lady of Virtue, it is solely through you The human race surpasses everything that exists. In heaven, on earth, and everywhere in between. I am truly thankful to follow your directive. If it were already completed, it would be too late. You don't need to ask me again. I embarked on this journey because I felt an irresistible pull towards understanding the deeper layers of existence. My curiosity about the mysteries of life and the realms beyond our own drove me to explore and document my experiences. Raum's works have always been a source of inspiration, guiding me to seek out new perspectives and insights. Feeling the love, folks, sending all the hype and blessings your way. Lilith, falling from the celestial realm into this domain, and departing from that place which you long to revisit. Since you've inquired, I'll briefly explain. She replied to me. Why do I feel no fear stepping into this place? One should only fear those things. Big shout out to folks for the love on the giveaway, and hey, Tad Life, looks like you are ready to dance the night away. Let's keep the energy high, everyone. Those who possess the ability to inflict harm on others. For the others, do not worry. They are not afraid. In His mercy, God has brought me into existence. So that your suffering does not impact me. No fire scorches me in this blaze. The Virgin Mary resides in heaven, where she mourns. At this obstacle to which I direct you, so that the strict laws of heaven are defied. In her plea, she invoked Saint Lucy and said, "Lucy, come, a loyal one now requires assistance." Of course, I'd be happy to assist Raum. Lucy, adversary of all that embodies cruelty. quickly departed and arrived at the location. I found myself seated alongside the timeless Rachel. "Beatrice," she said, as one who praises God. "Why don't you assist him who cared for you so deeply? And who for you departed from the chaotic throng? Can you not sense the sorrow in his situation? Can you not perceive the death that battles against him? By that river which leads solely to the desert. Never had people in the world been so quick. To find their path and break free from their sorrow. As I, after such words were spoken, I descended from my sacred place. Sure, here's a rewritten version of the paragraph assured in your poised dialogue. Which honors you and those who have heeded its call. After she had spoken to me, tears streaming down her face, she averted her gaze. Whereby she hastened my arrival. And to you I arrive as she wished. I have rescued you from that fierce creature. Which prevented the easy climb up the lovely mountain. What is it, then? Why do you hesitate? Why does your heart harbor such cowardice? Why do you lack boldness and passion? witnessing numerous celestial ladies. Are looking after you in the celestial court. And there's so much goodness waiting for you at the conclusion, isn't there? Even as the blossoms by the cool of night. Bow down and close, but when the sun whitens them. They rise, fully open on their stems. I became like this with my depleted energy. And such bravery filled my heart. I started with the courage of a bold adventurer. I express my gratitude to her who motivated me. And you who have complied so quickly. The words of truth which she spoke to you. You've ignited a deep longing within my heart. For the journey with those words of yours. I've chosen to join you on this adventure. Now go, for our desires are aligned. You are now the leader, Lord, and Master. I said this to him, and once he had shifted, I ventured onto the dark and untamed path. Inferno, Canto even the first circle of the underworld known as Limbo. The souls of virtuous non-Christians and unbaptized infants reside. Here, the atmosphere is one of sorrow without torment. As I journeyed through this realm, I encountered the great poets of antiquity who welcomed me into their esteemed company. Raum, my guide, explained that these souls are not punished but are forever separated from the divine presence they long for. A loud clap of thunder echoed throughout the valley and jolted me awake from a profound slumber, like someone abruptly jolted from sleep. I glanced around with eyes that were hardly rested. I stood up and took in my surroundings. Struggling to identify my surroundings. I gradually became aware that I was standing on the edge. In the valley filled with immense pain and suffering. Which gathers the echoes of the eternal sorrows. It was vague, misty, and boundless. So that when I tried to glimpse the depths, I couldn't discern the form of anything. We shall now enter the realm of darkness, Virgil said with uncertainty. I'll lead the way and you'll come after me. And when I noticed the uncertainty in his expression, I said, how can I arrive if you are fearful? Who will be my solace and ease my anxieties if not you? He said to me, the suffering of the people. Who are down here fills my mind with compassion. Which you have mistakenly perceived as fear. We need to begin immediately as we have a significant journey ahead of us. Then he went inside, prompting me to follow him. We stepped into the initial circle encircling the chasm, listening intently to the sounds around me. There were no cries of sorrow, only gentle sighs. That permeated the infinite and eternal atmosphere. These emerged from sadness, not from suffering. Amidst the throngs of people we came across, of men, women, and even children and infants. My guide turned to me and said, "You haven't inquired." who these spirits are whom you now observe. Before we proceed any further, let me share something with you. These are the ones who have not sinned, and if they possessed virtue. It was insufficient as they had not undergone baptism. In the faith I follow, the gateway to heaven is a spiritual journey rather than a physical location. It involves achieving a deep understanding of oneself and the universe, aligning with virtues that transcend earthly desires, and embracing a path of enlightenment and compassion. This journey is personal and unique to each individual, emphasizing inner growth and harmony with the cosmos. Those who came into existence prior to the time of Christ, and thus lacked the understanding of how to worship God. This is where I also dwell. This is my home. It is this flaw, and not from any other wrongdoing, that we are lost, and our sole punishment. We exist driven solely by desire, yet devoid of hope. Hearing this filled my heart with grief. Because I knew that some remarkable and deserving individuals